morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. I am so proud to introduce the No Shame at School Act today. Across this country, students whose families are struggling to afford school meals are being singled out and humiliated at lunchtime. These students are subjected to various shaming practices by schools. Some students have been literally branded with stamps. Others are given cheaper, less appetizing meals than other students. Some reports found students' lunch are thrown away after employees discover that they do not have enough money to pay. Across the country, people are taking action in their local communities to address this fundamental injustice. In California, a 9-year-old Ryan Coyote has been using his lunch card to buy meals for students who couldn't afford to eat. He then saved up 6 months of his allowance to pay off as much of student lunch debt for his fellow students. Valerie Castillo is another hero. Valerie is the mother of the late Ilhan Castillo, a cafeteria worker who was killed by police officers doing a traffic stop over his tail light in 2016. Philandro routinely paid for student lunches from his own pocket if they did not have enough money. As Valerie says, he understood that the children are the future leaders of this country, and it was his obligation to take care of them the best way that he could while they were still in his company. Earlier this year, Valerie Castillo gave Robbinsdale Cooper High School in New Hope, Minnesota $8,000 to settle student lunch debt in honor of her son, giving them the opportunity to focus on their classes and not worry about the burden of their debt. Thank you. But here's the problem. Not all of our communities have Valerie. Hunger and debt are a national problem, and we, as a federal government, have a responsibility to outlaw this practice. So what this bill does is very simple. It prohibits the punishment and shaming of children whose families are unable to pay school meals fees. That includes any kind of overt identification like tokens or wristbands, publishing a list of children who have outstanding debt, or using debt collectors to obtain school meals fees. Additionally, my bill would authorize the federal government to fully fund student school meals debt for up to 90 days. This issue is deeply personal to me. I myself felt the pangs of hunger as a child growing up in a refugee camp. My own experience with help inspired me to combat hunger. First, I worked for years as a nutrition educator to make sure that no one in the richest country in the world went without food because they couldn't afford it. Eventually, this motivated me to run for Congress because tackling hunger in this country requires an action from political leaders. We know that going hungry is not a choice. No child chooses to skip a meal. No parent chooses to go hungry themselves so that their child can have a full belly. And hunger in this country isn't because of the result of scarcity. We are a nation with tremendous wealth. Hunger in this country is the result of policies that keep wages low and funnel wealth to the top. It is the result of a political system that says it is okay to spend money on tax breaks for millionaires and the same companies who tanked our economy, but we can't afford to fund meals for our kids in the schools. Just take a look at Trump's budget, which would cut $1.7 billion from the child nutrition program and eliminate food assistance to millions. For many children, school lunch is the only meal they might get for that day. So this is not the end of this journey, but the beginning. We're going to end this shameless practice of school lunch shaming and make sure that we have an opportunity to provide meals to kids in the schools.
Wow, this is truly an honor. Um, I never thought I would be here for one thing, and to be here for such an important position makes it even more honorable. Orlando was a school supervisor in the cafeteria. He earned that position as being a supervisor. And he knew all of those children by name. He knew all of their allergies because he knew something obviously in the school cafeteria environment that we as parents didn't know, because I don't have school-age children, so I had no idea about how serious the lunch shaming and the enormous debt that school districts suffer and parents suffer as well. We're one of the richest countries on this planet, and I don't think that any child should be hungry. No child should be hungry. No child should be deprived of eating a healthy meal. We don't know what families go through every day, and we don't know if that meal, those 2 meals are the only nutritious meal that they have through the day. So I applaud Representative Omar for coming up with this bill, because we need something to ensure that our children are taken care of. That's what my son stood for, taking care of those children that we entrusted him to do, and he did it to the best of his ability. And our country should not minimize the importance of school lunch shaming. Our kids have one job, and that's to go to school, become educators and the leaders of this country. So I thank you, Congressman, and everyone else who have stepped forward and made sure that this does not continue. We are a sovereign nation, and we should act like it, and to make sure that our children are taken care of, that is number one. That's number one, because they are the future leaders of the country. We have to take care of our children. It's a must. We have to take care of them. And I appreciate you having me come and say my piece, because like I said, I never dreamed that I would be standing here fighting for something so important, and something that my son felt that was important as well.
We're really hopeful that we can move this bill along on behalf of our kids. And so I want to say thank you